everybody! Today is the first day after the Paragard insertion and I'm doing pretty good, so I'm very happy about that. It wasn't without pain or discomfort, but it wasn't as bad as I feared it would be. So yesterday went pretty well. I would say, first of all, if you're interested in it, definitely have an appointment and talk with a clinician or a doctor. That way you know exactly what to expect for your body and your needs. Yesterday I took about 800 milligrams of ibuprofen about an hour before the appointment. And then personally for me, I also went and just had a kind of a comfort food lunch ahead of time. And then during the actual appointment itself, I would say there was a little bit of a hassle with the insurance. I had made a million calls ahead of time trying to figure things out and get things rolling. And I didn't expect there to be an insurance problem once I got there. And I had to make some calls and get that cleared up. And that just kind of was something that was unnecessary. But in 2017, I guess that's the way it has to be. And hopefully we can kind of work on that in the future and stuff. But so I got that taken care of. Didn't expect that day, but got that taken care of. And then for the actual appointment itself, I talked to an assistant that was there. She was very friendly, very helpful, answered some last minute questions. Then I also talked to the clinician, and I asked, I said I had one more pack of pills because during the first 6 months of Paragard, things were supposed to be heavier and crampier. So I asked if I took my last pack of pills, if that might help or would there be any issues with that. And they said they didn't predict there would be any issues. It's not like it would affect the Paragard or throw anything off. So I was welcome to take my last pack. So I'll start that pretty soon here, and hopefully that'll kind of take the edge off a little bit and help with the transition. As far as the insertion itself, there's a few steps that they go through. You lay down and they put in the speculum. And I would say just be relaxed. Like, don't tighten your muscles. Well, anytime that you have a speculum in, but especially during an IUD insertion, just be relaxed as much as possible. And I asked them to walk me through it, and they described everything beforehand, but then I asked if they could just, let me know when they're about to do something during the procedure. Just because for me, it helps to know what's going on, then I can be like, oh, okay, I know what that is, that's expected. So it makes a big difference. They put the speculum in, and then they put a clamp in that aligns everything. It aligns the cervix, it aligns everything. That way the little ruler device and the IUD itself can go in straight. That's a little bit of a sharp pain. And for me, they had to do it twice because they clamped it, and I was like, oh, okay, I've got that part over. And then they're like, sorry, we have to re-clamp it. We want to make it straighter and stuff. So I was like, okay. So we did that, and that wasn't too bad. It was, not comfy, but it wasn't too bad. And then the hardest part, I think, was when they put the ruler in, because they want to put in a ruler that measures how large the uterus is, from front to back in the cavity. And basically the ruler goes through the cervix, which isn't the most comfortable, and then it goes all the way through. It wasn't horrible, but it was definitely uncomfortable, but it was interesting because I started to feel some pain, and they let me know that that would be a part that would be discomfortable or uncomfortable, and I would describe it. They said that it can feel like it's the bowels. Like, it didn't feel like it was coming from that area. Like, it felt like it was coming from, down below, underneath that. And they said it can actually kind of feel like the bowels or something. And to me, it felt like, when you're constipated and stuff is happening or something. It's like, oh, I didn't expect it to feel like that. So that's when I was kind of like, the nice assistant actually held my hand and stuff at that point. I was like, I just want to have something to take my mind off from it. So we were talking and chatting, and they were saying, it's going to be nice out the next day and everything. So that was cool that they just kind of, distracted me, and I knew what to expect so I could distract myself. So I would say it was a little bit of discomfort, but it wasn't like horrible. So I was just like, as the pain was increasing, I was like afraid that it would get much worse very quickly. But when it kind of plateaued, I was like, oh, okay, that's as worse as it's gonna get, so I'm okay with that. And then after they do that and they measure everything, that's when after that they put in the actual IUD, and it's kind of a repeat of that same feeling, but I knew that everything was gonna like plateau and it wasn't gonna get worse, so I was okay with that. And then afterwards, she just kind of keeps things open for a little bit and clips the strings, because there's like a plastic string that you feel every so often. They say, about once a week for 6 weeks, feel and make sure the strings are there, and about once a month, just feel and make sure that the strings are there, because that indicates whether or not the device is moved, because you just don't want it to move at all. And if you feel any hard plastic coming out, or you can't sense the strings, then that would be an issue, and definitely go in and have that checked out, like, without question. And I would say, so, talking with your staff and just making sure that, they can kind of distract you a little bit and joke around and stuff like that, that makes it a lot easier. I felt pretty good right after it. I did some paperwork and stuff, but then on the car ride home, is when I really felt kind of crampy, and I was like, oh shoot. But, and I had a person that would, drive me there and drive me back, so that was a big plus. I mean, you could drive if you really wanted to, if you have no one else, to kind of help out, but if you do have somebody who you trust and can kind of drive you there, hang out for a little bit, and then drive you back, that would be awesome. Like, that would be perfect. And it depends on the person's body too, because they did say people react in different ways. So there are some people who might not have any issues, and there are other people who might be in a lot of pain. So it's like, just in case you happen to be one of those people who are in a lot of pain, or if you get easily distracted while you're driving and the pain would be a distraction, then I would say just have a ride, just be safe that way. And then I would say in the car ride home is when I felt it kind of getting crampy and everything like that. And so once I got home, I waited a little bit, and then I took a couple more ibuprofen, and then I laid down. I would say laying on my side was the most comfortable for me, because I felt like if I was on my back, then, I don't know, I felt like it was a little bit more uncomfortable. So on my side seemed to be a little bit easier. Did that for a bit. I just took it easy that day, watched TV and stuff. And then that night I started feeling pretty good by the end of the night. I just took one Motrin PM. I slept pretty well. I didn't want to be too groggy the next day, so I just took one. Slept pretty well. And then the next day I felt pretty good. Like, I felt pretty good getting up, but I was just afraid that things would start to cramp. So what I did is I had breakfast and I took 2 ibuprofen just as a precaution. And then I've been taking it pretty easy today. Just not lifting anything heavy or doing anything intense, just kind of relaxing a little bit. It's nice out, so I might take like a short walk or something. So that's been my story so far. Doing pretty good, a lot better than I expected, so it makes me happy. But again, it could be different for everybody. They say that for the most part, at least that's what the clinician said, is that most people are pretty good with it, most people are pretty okay. But I would say, just in case your body happens to react differently, just have everything prepared in advance. Have a car ride, have a friend who will drive. And then what I did is I took some time off from work. Like, at my work I'm full-time, so I get 2 days off a week. And then what I did is I requested a couple of days off, and I just put them back to back. So I had 4 days in a row. Had the insertion on a Thursday. This is a Friday. So I took those days off, and then I'll have the weekend to also kind of just make sure everything's okay. I definitely didn't want to go back. I'm glad I didn't go back to work that first day, especially because, that was some pretty kind of just an intense, crampy feeling. and it was just very distracting, so I was happy to be at home and just relaxing. So I'd say if you could give yourself a few days, like if you can, take a few days and just relax and take it easy. I would suggest that if you have that capability, you know, if you have that choice. And then what I did is I also kind of stockpiled on like some pads and some food and stuff like that. That way, you know, if I don't want to go to the store, I don't have to. And then they also said for afterwards, for me, just don't insert anything for a week, don't do tampons, do pads, and then don't do anything, you know, intimate down there for a good week or so. Just kind of let things heal up. And they said for everybody to watch out for infections and things like that. It's a sterile environment, but just on the weird off chance that there was an infection, it could travel up the string and into the uterus, and that would be bad. It would take a lot of time to do that, they said, but so just kind of watch out for things. They said that because of the iodine that they use to sterilize and clean things, that the next day there could be like a discolored discharge, and not to worry about that the next day, like if it was black, brown, or green. So that's not a problem. But like later on down the road, if you feel pain or discomfort, if you think that there might be an infection, if you feel any hard plastic starting to come out, that's a very bad sign. Go have it checked out immediately, don't wait. If you feel any intense like pain in the, you know, hip area, that could be the IUD, like a small chance, a weird chance that the IUD is traveling and going outside of the uterus, which would be a very bad deal. Go and have that checked immediately. My clinician was very like friendly and said, you know, when I go to check the strings, if I don't feel them and I'm just kind of curious, it's like don't hesitate. Like they're totally okay with, you know, just checking, making sure that the string is there. They do say that the string over time, it becomes softer, and it could kind of like curl up and be like way up there. And so it's like just to be aware of that over time it could do that. And so it's like it's still there, it's still long. So the length of it is what you're looking for more than the position of it, as far as, you know, whether it's like straight or curled. So if it's kind of curled, it's okay as long as it's still the same length. And I think that was kind of the main info for now. You know, just kind of prepared as best I could, kind of stockpiled on some stuff, taking it easy. Yeah, so far I'm pretty happy. It wasn't horrible. It was, I'm proud that I got that done and over with, and I don't have to take any more pills and stuff. That'll be a weird transition. For the next few weeks I'll probably feel like I'm forgetting to do something I'm supposed to do, and that'll be weird for a little bit, but I think not having to take pills and not having to worry about hormones and, you know, all that stuff will be worth it for me. So I'm pretty happy about that. I'll continue to do videos like I said, and hope to see you next time. Thank you, bye.